And of course, there you go. I think it's time now that we cross over to the discussion. We have so much in store for you. Like I said, it's a trail of love and, of course, murder within relationships. So make sure that you keep it right here. The guests are all seated, all waiting, and good to have them this morning. And interesting thing is that, like I said earlier on, they also have experiences that they have to share in regards to what they've gone through in their relationships, in their respective, of course, love triangles and all that. And amid all these troubles that they've gone through, they have soldiered on, and they tell you what? That there are solutions to this. So these are the solutions that we seek to get this morning, because then, moving forward, it is a trail that we do not want to proceed with. Welcome on board once again, and I'll start with the lady as always. Angie, good to have you this morning.
Good to have
Angie is
you
not a
too.
new face. We've had her before. Of course, she'll always bring great insights in regards to, of course, transforming your life, because she is equally a transformational coach. So Angela Katua, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you
And
for
right
having me.
next to Angela is Daniel Matakaya. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us this morning and equally willing to share your story. We are looking forward to hear that, and of course, just get to learn, and most importantly, you know, have other people equally speaking about their experiences, because as it is, they say men sort of shun away from speaking their experiences, that it gets to a point whereby, you know, it's beyond return.
Yes.
And then we start saying that I wish I knew, I wish I had spoken, and all that. So indeed, Daniel Matakaya is the founder, Dan Shieshie Foundation. He'll be here, of course, sharing his story and about everything, giving us insights on what way forward. And lastly, we have none other than Justin Chumwa. Not the first time that you're here. Good to have you also.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to great insights from you. He's equally a life coach. So thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. And I think I'll go straight to it. What do you make of the experiences that we're witnessing today? Because the reason why we're having this conversation is because of the numerous stories that are ongoing right now, told and untold. Are we a reactive nation? Are we a reactive society, as opposed to looking into some of these issues before they get to that this point?
Apart from being reactive, we are also tolerant, and we tolerate things that we are not supposed to be tolerating. And I believe that you shouldn't be crying for love. Actually, love is supposed to be making you happy. And the tears you're supposed to shed for someone are tears of happiness, not tears of pain. So I think that apart from being reactive, there is also the other part to blame, which is being tolerant, too tolerant.
Easier said than done. You bring this point, and I'm like, the stigma that surrounds, or is within the society, especially when it comes to matters family, and the fact that you can say, you know what, I am married, I did a wedding, and I can just step out, and the society is looking at you and they're pointing fingers, and you know, there's so much stigma that surrounds that, and there's equally that involvement of other figures like the kids, and you're thinking maybe it's not just easy to step out if you have to consider some of these kids. Sincerely speaking, to what point then does it become tolerance when you're looking at these crucial issues that are within the society that are equally important? Dan, imagine then you have to look at your kids, the kids that you've sired with this particular person. And even worse, you know, you're looking around and you're thinking, now the society will be pointing fingers at you and saying that huyo ndio alishindwa kuchunga boma yake, huyo mwanamke, and all that. And, you know, all these stereotypes that we see.
Okay, to me what I can say is that we have a lot of issues going on within the family, and we are experiencing many things.
Right.
But we still have the solution within ourselves. But it's like we are so undermanned. We don't want to unlock the potential that we have to see now, to think out of the box and realize that what we are experiencing, we can indeed come out of it, because many people have gone through it and they have managed to come out of it. So we are trying to keep our image, to protect our image at our own expense. So some of these things we need to come out and face them, face the reality, and I don't see why someone should keep in a bad relationship because of the children. Yeah, you can easily come out of it and take care of your children and have peace within your mind.
All right. Well. I am still locked in between that space. And I think Johnston will come in regards to this because he's one person that values family so much so. And I know we all value family in our very own special way, especially when it's a safe haven and that's where you want to run to and, you know, all the cries and worries are wiped off at this space of the family. But at what point then can we say tolerance is tolerance and perseverance and patience and, you know, the fact that you can just you compromising? Because with all this, it seems like it's more or less the same. While somebody would tell you, it's good that you're persevering. It's good that you're compromising so much for you to hold your family up together. Somebody else will tell you you're tolerating too much. So in between, you get confused. You do not know what direction to take. You all know family is good. You want to tolerate. You want to just be in there and see whether things are going to change. I mean, to what point then do we say this is now beyond persevering? This is now beyond, of course, compromising for the sake of the growth of the family, and it becomes tolerance, which is not healthy for an individual.
Thank you. Love is, all those are attributes of love.
Yeah.
Love is patient, love is kind, love is love perseveres.
Right.
And love bears all things. There is not too much perseverance. There is not too much patience. What we have is red flags.
Yeah.
For example, if you're in a relationship and you are persevered, because love does not give up, and there are things you see that are a threat to your life, then that is when you use wisdom.
There are red flags I'd want to say that many, of course, nowadays or back then would consider as also, you know, signs of love. For instance, someone tells you, you know, if he does not hit you once, then that is not, I mean, it's a sign of life. When he hits you that kidogo, it's like, you know, just reminding you you're on track, and it's equally a sign of life. And there are women who would confidently tell you that, you know what, if he doesn't do it, then I'm like, okay, what's the problem? So sometimes it's like it's a sign of love, while others might look at it as though it's a red flag.
Linda, the African culture, in some cultures, in some tribes in Kenya, they say, if he has never slapped you, then he doesn't love you.
Yeah.
So to an extent, the women provoke the slap.
Yeah.
So that they can feel that they are loved.
Loved is true.
They can feel they are loved. But that is foolishness.
Another thing, a warning sign. I'm sorry, let's just tackle these warning signs and you guys can help me out on this because before we even get to know them and the red flags, because there are times man is out there with many women, but you know what the society tells you, you know what your friends tell you, you know what you convince yourself that, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm the one who's under his roof. At the end of the day, I'm the one who's he's going to come home to. And vice versa, equally women, you know, you say, let her do whatever it is that she wants to do out with whoever. But at the end of the day, she's coming home to me, he's coming home to me. Equally, one would argue that is a red flag. But again, people argue that as long as you're the one who's holding the space, I mean, that's the bottom line. It's a love sign. It means that he loves you, he values you, it's you that he wants.
You see, there is a thin line between foolishness
Okay.
and wisdom.
All right.
What I can say is this: we need to be fine. You said with tolerance. Society has become so intolerant. We are easily what? We are easily irritated, and once we get irritated, we want to kick people out of our space. People have lost purpose. Why are you in a marriage in the first place? And do you have goals for being in a marriage? And what are the things you cannot tolerate?
Right.
You see? Because you're supposed to sit and agree. This is the direction you're taking as a family. But now, when you come to a situation where your life is in danger, and it's clear your life is in danger, you have become an endangered species, then you need to act. You need to use common sense. Even if you don't have wisdom, use common sense. You are being knocked left and right. You are being slapped, and he has even told you he will kill you, and you are still there waiting to be killed. Now, I think these are the telltale signs that things are not right in this house. I had a lady on radio saying, he kicked me until I had a miscarriage, and you're still keeping the man. Oh, he loves me. How can I kill a love?
All right, Johnston, and I want us to be very real on this, because these things, I would want to assume they're happening, or maybe these killings are happening because of these experiences that we're talking about right now. Don't you think, Angie, in your own capacity, that if we were to look at all these signs, then we would not have family at all? Is there that one that is just perfect, that you know there's no single point that you'll be insulted, there's no single point that you'll have rifts, there's no single points that will have cracks within the family? If we are to say that, you know, this is a warning sign, let's step out, don't you think we'll not have one single family standing?
I think majority of people are not really violent. And majority of people are not that tolerant to violence. But I believe that we need to embrace family, all of us, because family is a good thing. And we cannot say because some families are becoming violent, we are not going to get married, or we are not going to move forward in love. Because there's always those red flags, like Johnston said. There's a violent person will always show. They do not bluff. They will always show. And you will see by the temper they're going to have, the anger they are going to have when maybe you do something wrong, because no one is perfect. And even those people are not perfect. Even the ones who are very good are not perfect. Sometimes you will cross roads here and there. You cannot always have maybe be always on the same path. But there's always going to be differences here and there. But you will know how this person is by the way they handle situations. Because there are many ways of handling situations. And some people can even choose to walk away. If you know that I can get angry and probably I can even get violent, you need to maybe breathe and take a walk. Then you come back when you're calmed down.
They say the silent ones are the ones that we should fear the most.
Not really. Not really. I believe you should be able to express yourself. Everyone should be able to express themselves. Yeah, because if you keep on accumulating those feelings, one day they will explode. And then you will even do something drastic, something very dangerous. So it's good to keep expressing yourself and dealing with issues as they arise, because they keep on arising day after day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, holding of grudges, Dan, we come to you. You're willing to share your story?
Yes.
Please, briefly, if you can take us, through your story up until where we are, and then now we see whether we can pick some lessons from that.
Okay, for me, this happened in 2013, on
Right.
21st September 2013. I was on duty the whole night. I'm a police officer.
Right.
So I came to the house at around 5:30 in the morning. I was so tired. So I went direct to the bed just to sleep. And my ex-wife was in the house.
Right.
Few minutes later, she woke up and poured sulfuric acid on my face.
All right.
And then she ran away. I was so confused, and when I jumped out of the bed to try and get some water to pour on my face, dissolve the burning, because it was it was burning. I stepped on the floor, and she had gone further and connected electricity. So when I stepped on the floor, she had poured water. I felt a shock. So at that moment, I couldn't do anything. I just screamed, and my colleagues came for my rescue.
Why do you suppose it got to that point where she had to do whatever it is that she did? Because most of the times we argue that these reactions are instant, like you probably did something that you did not know. And when I've gone to Langata Women's Prison, and some of them will tell you, what, I did this because of anger. It just happened. I don't know how it happened. But there are some that are just well calculated. By the time somebody is calculating to do that, then there has to be something that has piled up in terms of a trigger. Why could this
Like for
have
me,
happened?
this seems that it had been calculated, the way
Right.
you have said.
Yeah.
The same way in May, I lost a kid. We had one kid, and
Right.
then we lost him. He succumbed to severe pneumonia. And then 2 weeks after the burial, my ex-wife came to me and told me that she had been advised that we need to have another kid.
All right.
So as the memories of the
baby.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Then we sat down. I told her that, okay, it might be a good decision, but we cannot do so, because we can just give it away, because if we do so, someone will feel like, you know, we were a young couple.
Right.
Someone will feel happy because he or she is trying to influence the decision we are making. So I told her we should wait, not because it was a bad decision, but
Right.
because I felt that someone was trying to intrude into our private matters and trying to influence the decision that we are making. So that's why I told her to wait. So we agreed, and then, you know, she was living in Nakuru. I was in Kisii that time. So she used to come and visit. I used to go to Nakuru, and this time she came and we stayed together for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then, like 3 days before the incident, she told me that she wanted to pick the kids' belongings
Okay.
with her to Nakuru. And that's where the argument began. So I told her, there's no need, we are still together. Why do you want to go with these items to Nakuru? And no, she was such a quiet lady. She was not someone who could share openly what she is experiencing. So we started the argument. I went ahead and called her mom and shared with her about the argument, and she called her, she told her to go home. So the day she was supposed to travel, that's the day she did this to me.
Where is she?
She was arrested 2 days later. She was arrested, charged in court, but released on bond. So she is free. The matter is still pending before court.
All right.
And I expect I'll have justice from the court.
Yeah, we certainly hope justice will be served. And we also would want to ask why some of these cases take forever before they are addressed. But of course, coming to you, Johnston, when you listen to that story, a clear indication that maybe there were no warning signs. And sometimes you're sitting pretty and it's all easy. Unless, well, there's something that Dan is not telling us, but based on that small argument, you can speak, you can tell so much, of course, played out in regards to that. I mean, what gets into the mind of a person, especially when you've gone through tragic moments in life? Because then family is key. And I think I'll also want to agree with the fact that sometimes it's very hard, especially when you lose such a baby, you know, as a mother and everything, like so much goes through your head. I mean, how can we get to deal with such individuals so that we do not get them, or we do not see them getting to these points that, of course, we would not be able to reverse? Because maybe the society assumed it's okay, it's all good, well, it's just a kawaida loss, but not everyone would deal with losses the same way.
It's quite important to be very rational when you go through you are going through a rough patch in life. You need a support team. You need people close to you. You need people you can share very sensitive information, issues with your life. People very close. You can share anything with them. That's why I'm saying you need a support network. And you should not take matters into your own hands. Don't allow yourself to be controlled by anger. We have so many people who are controlled by resentment. They have carried grudges for so long. It comes a point, as Angela was saying, they explode. And when you explode, you mess up things. Before you come to a point where you are controlled by resentment, you need to seek help. You need to talk. Open up. Talk your issues.
Right.
Communicate. And that's why I wrote a book. And communicate your issues in a very articulate way. Let your partner know what you're thinking.
Right.
Completely. Don't hide anything. It's better to share information than to regret, I wish I had done this. Maybe things could have been better. But you just kept things to yourself. You did not go for help until you mess up things, and you really made the life of your partner very difficult.
Because it's obvious that sometimes we might not get these people to speak. I mean, as that world of course, understanding people, you know, that world of course, coaching people, of transforming the lives of people, Do you suppose that we should be a little bit more proactive in getting to, friends, getting to understand what people are going through, in the very same fraternity that we are in? Because we might assume that one is going to speak and they fail to speak. So what other proactive move should we make as a society towards ensuring that we see some of this, or we troubleshoot some of these issues that are bound to happen before it gets to that particular point? Because as a society, I mean, you've had these stories, numerous stories that, now after the damage has already been done is when people come out, say, she used to complain about it, she used to say, or they used to fight, or she used to tell me this, he used to tell me this, but then here we are again. Looks like, when you hear that as a society, you just mind your own business and say, it's your own business. And you look at what happened on the past or the back times, when the society used to be involved with the life of an individual. But today is one man's affair, like it's you and you alone. Especially, I'll tell you, I barely know my neighbors. That's a reality. Some of them you just see from afar. And these are people you've stayed in the same, of course, estate, same compound, same building for years with. So what should we do extra as a society?
In the olden days, before people get married, the families used to identify a family where their sons or their daughters want to get married.
Yeah.
And there used to be a lot of self-awareness, because this family would know that my child is like this. And this child would identify with their family because they know this is how I am and this is how my family is. So I can only get married to a family which relates to my family.
Yeah.
So there was so much awareness in the kind of person I am and the kind of person I want to get married. Unfortunately, nowadays, we are going to seek souls while we haven't even seeked our own soul. Right. You don't even know yourself yet. And you're out there looking for someone to know them. How will you even manage to know someone else while you don't know yourself? It's like saying that I will love someone while I don't love myself, because we should show people how we want to be loved by the way we love ourselves first. So I think that there's a lot of laggishness or maybe a lot of misadvice or lack of it at all, because I believe that when you're courting, you need to first get to know this person. But even before you get to know that person, know who you are. Then you will be able to identify a person who matches you. Because you shouldn't just go and marry anyone because they're ready to get married. Right. There are many people who want to get married, but you're not there for everyone, or anyone to say. So you need to know yourself first, and then you know the kind of person you want to have. Even you can list down, come up with a list of qualities of the person that you want to get married to, and then ask yourself, do I have these qualities myself before I can even go to this person or give my life to this person? Right. Then that way you'll be able to reason together. Communication will not be a problem as it is in many marriages nowadays. Young people are getting married just because I'm a male and I'm a female and this is a male. It's like dogs or animals. They maybe they involve themselves into giving birth without conscience. But us, we are given that gift by God, and I think that we should use it very wisely. There is no soul that can get another soul which is perfect for them unless they first seek their own soul.
And of course, thank you so much for your feedback. We have so much coming in regards to that. We all know how much, of course, issues to do with relationship we hold dear. And many of us have stories that we'd love to tell. And here we are with the feedback. Some of us have sent in tweets in regards to the topic of discussion. Let's sample some of them. Isabella Audrey says, I personally encourage couples to argue whenever they have a disagreement instead of holding grudges that explode with tragic consequences. There you go, Isabella. And then Colin Socheng says, I believe upbringing also counts. Parents should avoid fighting in front of their children. You know what they say about students surpassing their teachers? That is interesting. And another one, Sasha Wanjiku says, I blame the upsurge of spousal killings on devaluation of human life, a poor courtship that locks and familiar partners together in doomed matrimony, and the stress and frustrations of marital life. That is also an interesting one. Sasha again says, many married people are so frustrated in their marriages but can't live because of the children of fear of social stigma. One day they will reach a breaking point, pick a knife and stab or kill their spouse. Another one, Emily Kirote says, the quiet ones who are church-going and non-violent are the type that when frustration reaches a point they can't take anymore, will resort to deadly violence. And Mercy Karanja says nowadays men don't provide. They want to sit at home and wait for the woman to provide. How then do you expect a woman to be submissive to a man who can't provide? Interesting. And Collins Ucheng once more, which should be the last one that I'm reading. Pressure to make it in life has condemned many young people to loneliness. Back in the day, an individual's predicament was shared not only within the family, but by the whole community. However, the modern society, it is every man for himself. There you go. They've said it all. And of course, all these are sentiments that, we value, or these are sentiments that are reality, according to the way we watch it or according to the way we see it, or the experiences that we witness, every other day. So we'll be crossing over to the DJ, that is DJ Axenic. Equally, we get his sentiments on the same. He's still, I don't know whether he's married. Well, I don't know. He's going to tell us, but all the same, I'm sure he's gotten an experience with issues to do with love. There are times when you'll decide to walk away. There are times when you'll decide to hold on and see whether there's going to be some change on it. But above everything, that one decision that you're making should be about you, as of course the panel would say. So, Axenic.
Yes.
Heated debate right here.
Yeah, I see.
Lots of reactions coming from people outside.
Yeah.
But there you go. What's your make on this? Why do you suppose we have all these cases that are rising up by the day in regards to crime of passion?
I think they say love is blind. I don't know, something like that.
Love is blind?
Yeah, something like that.
So do you think that's the reason why some of these things happen the way they happen?
It's actually hard to court with someone for 10 years, then make it easy for you to walk away.
Right.
Sometimes it feels like it's okay to hurt someone,
Yeah.
to at least repay all the time that you've been with them.
Right.
But I don't feel like it's
the
good.
investment bit
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it, and I
the
think I
investment,
agree.
yeah.
I totally agree to that, and all of us can speak about that. The investments that we put onto this relationship, like the time that you put into this relationship, the energy that you put into relationship, the kids that you get, the things that you put up together, the resources you put up together. Sincerely, even if Nimimi, I'm not trying to say that I'm a violent person or a terrible person, but anyway, there would be that pressure for you to pay back. Hata mimi siwezi taka kuona huyo mtu anaenda kukula raha vile anaenda kukula raha sincerely after wasting cool 10 years of yours. Johnston.
Yeah, sure. But the greatest, love is the greatest winner. Love is the greatest equalizer. When you let things go without harming anybody, you are the greatest winner. I've seen people who have courted for years, 7 years, and all of a sudden, either of them, decides to exit, to quit, without minding the investment they have made in the other person. And they become so heartless. And then you just let them go. They want to go, let them go. And you win. By doing so, you're a winner. Love is a winner. In relationships, there is supposed to be a lot of forgiving. A lot of forgiving. You're supposed to be each other's keeper. I see you, I don't see an enemy. I see my friend. Like when you're married, your wife, your husband is your friend. You don't harm a friend. You don't harm the one you love. And if you realize that in some of these violent cases, what we see is a gradual pile-up of issues until they reach a boiling point, and then someone does the unthinkable. They decide to go irrational. So the best thing, Linda, to forestall these issues, especially to prevent violence from taking place, is to grow together as partners in whatever relationship. Grow together. People have weaknesses. Help them to outgrow them. People have issues. Marriage is a perfect institution for imperfect beings. Although when you're born again, you are perfect in Christ. But there will be flaws, so many imperfections. You learn to forgive and let go.
All right. Of course, I'll come back to you. And, I'll ask a question in regards to the good books and whether we have overlooked the essence of the good books. But let's loop in Dan first. Dan, of course, we sympathize with your story, but above everything, you have risen above the odds, and you're here speaking out, and you're here, you know, advising people.
Yes.
You're here telling them that, you know what, it's not always rosy when you're thinking it is rosy.
Yeah.
Before we went for break, we were talking about knowing yourself, and above everything, knowing your spouse. There's always this notion that you're told you will never get to know this person. Years down the line, sometimes something will just crop up that you'd be like, wow, I didn't know this thing about you. I didn't see this other side of you. I've never seen this side of you. So as you get to know this person, do you suppose then you can go to that point whereby you can be able to tell their next move so that you're able to protect yourself, so that you're able to protect them equally? Because like he rightfully puts it, we are all imperfect. So in a way, you can step in towards ensuring that you get them from this side to that other good side.
Indeed, we are imperfect, and no marriage is perfect, but it depends in the way we handle issues, and communication is key. So, you know, nowadays, first young people, we marry for wrong reasons. We marry because we want to make our parents happy. We marry because we want to make our peers happy, because your friend is married, now you want to marry. Then we feel we have the pressure to also follow suit, to do what they are doing. That's where we go wrong. We rush to do things. You meet someone today, tomorrow you tell her, I love you, I want to stay, I want to live with you, I want to marry you. You know, that's the foundation of marriage. That's where we get it wrong. Because to me, I believe, if you want to live with this person for 50 years, why can I take only 6 months, then we are married?
Okay.
At that point, I'll not be in a position that, okay, I can't say that I have known you.
This person,
because you need to take time.
So courtship is key.
Courtship is key. And then you need to take time, enough time to know and understand this individual you want to commit your life to. Because it's not only knowing, because people will want you to know what they want you to know. They'll show you the good things, the good sides. It will always be the honeymoon part of it, but you need to know the other side, the other part of this individual. That's why usually I tell people, take time to understand, to know this person, to know how he or she reacts to issues, know him or her even psychologically. You need to understand, to know his friends, what are some of his friends, what are they doing, because it's through that you will know this person. And then during courtship, even come up with something, then mukosane, so that you understand how this person reacts to issues before you get into marriage. Because after knowing how he or she reacts, kukiwa na disagreements, then you will know or you will understand how to approach it. Because already you have known the other side of
Without
this
getting
individual.
a little bit personal, I think your story is key, and some of us are learning from it. When you're speaking like you are saying right now, is this a lesson that you picked after the experience, or maybe you also had a chance to get to know your partner?
I picked after the experience, and then also I've been interacting and sharing with people who are going through issues, and then at least I understand, analyzing those issues, problems, how they come out about. So you are in a position to know some of the causes of these issues.
All right, I'll come to you to understand the psychological aspect of it, and whether there's that need of seeking counseling in the event that this happens, or even prior, before you get into marriage. But coming to Angie again, you've given me your story before. To me, it's very uplifting. I pick lots of lessons from it, and I always want you to share it once again. I hope you do not mind to briefly, take us through your experience equally. That's the reason why I said we have a special panel that has gone through this and, emerge as victors, because to me, you two are victors.
Yeah. Unlike Dan's story, mine had all the red flags. Because there was the red flags of the man who is not a provider, a man who is not ready to work, to sweat, and a man who was promiscuous. He had many women out there, and so many lies that would come up, not truthful at all. And I saw all that, but I was tolerant because I believed that once you get into marriage, you should make it work. That is what I used to think. But my situation was bad because I did not take the initiative to court. I did not allow the courtship to go on because we knew each other, and within 3 months we were already living together. My parents didn't know this guy. I never knew his parents. Up to today, I have never seen them.
Okay.
I only saw them online because he was a foreigner. And I became like the one providing for everything, even giving money, coming up with the money to go visit my parents now after we had already started living together and I was already pregnant.
Before we listen to, we finish, like we're done with your story, let's pick this phone call so we don't lose them and then we come back to your story. John Adamba from Bungoma, good morning.
Hello, Linda Busiere.
Busie, Papa, ulimbwena?
Oh, jumulamu, yani niko mzima kabisa.
Asante.
Wacha nikwambie Linda, mambo ya trials relationship katika familia ni mengi sana.
Yeah.
Ni mengi sana. Hata naona mnazungumzia pale juu sana kwa watu wazima tu peke yake. Hata angalia watoto.
Yeah.
Angalia watoto, mtoto wa miaka 6, mtoto wa miaka 3, hata mtoto wa miaka 4, 5 hivi unasikia amejitia kitanda. What is happening?
Right.
What is happening? I'm asking all over the world. Ni kitu gani inafanyika? Kwa sababu tunataka tuangalie, na mimi nikiangalia Linda nakwambia ukweli, ukiangalia sana ni ile imani ambayo tunakosa, imani ile ya kidini. Tunakosa imani ya kidini katika maadili yetu ya kiroho.
Right.
Mimi naweza kufikiria ni jambo kama hilo. Kwa maana mtoto wa miaka 7, kama ni mapenzi, kama ni ukosefu wa pesa, kama ni ukosefu wa kazi, ni shida gani naweza kufanya mtoto kama wa miaka 6, 7 ajitie kitanzi jamani? Ni shida gani? Kama ni mtu mzima tunaweza kusema ni mapenzi. Kama ni mtu mzima tunaweza kusema labda ni shida ya hapa na pale ya kazi. Ni ugomvi na mrefu na kazi. Lakini mtoto wa miaka 3, 6, 7, 5 hivi ya kikazi bila ulizo ulimwengu tupate kujibiwa. Na mimi nataka kuambia namna hivi Linda.
Kweli.
Ninamkumbuka mwimbaji mmoja, nitamtaja kwa hii media, nitamtaja sana. Alikuwa anaitwa Freshly Mwamburi. Alitumbia kibao kimoja kizuri sana kinaitwa Sitendo. Na nimependa hiki kibao, nyinyi wana media, nianzie kwako Linda. Mweza kuchezea watu hiki kibao, aidha kwa njia moja ama 2, 3 hivi wanaweza kusikia hiki kibao kinasema namna gani na kinaeleza namna gani, aidha watu waweze kujiinua katika zile imani zao na hata kupunguza visa fulani ya mambo kama ya kujiua, kujitia kitanzi katika familia. Hebu sikiliza. Nikauza shamba langu sababu yake yeye, nikauza ng'ombe na mbuzi sababu yake yeye, nikauza gari langu sababu yake yeye. Sasa vitu kama hivyo ukiona mtu zingine amekaramika, amefanya hivi na hivi, mara mambo inakuwa ni mwingine ataenda kukamua ile ng'ombe, basi mtu anajitia kitanzi na mambo kama hiyo na mambo kama hiyo. Ninapenda watu tujiweke pamoja na tuombe zaidi ili mambo kama haya yaweze kupunguzwa. Shukrani kama Johnson Bungoma.
Thank you so much, John, for calling, of course, in. Remember, you can as well call us on 0791-478-990. Let's hear what you have to say about the same. DJ, I wish you would give us that. Unaweza pata hiyo? Stella, nilikuwa na mpenzi wangu. Tulipendana kama nyama choma. Okay, well, if we get it, we'll play it. Just a reminder of what plays out and how much, of course, you can give in the name of love, only to be disappointed at the end of the day. Of course, we're listening to your story, Angie, before we cross over to the rest of the panel. Yep.
I was saying that mine had all the red flags, and I wanted to tolerate. I wanted to really make it work. But it couldn't work because of the person he was. Right. And he was there for a different reason. He wasn't there for really marriage because some time after we even stayed together and he went back to his country and we were still in communication, after I already had my baby and I had given him everything. I even sold my car to support him to leave the country.
Okay.
And lose a car. and I was now ready to even relocate to go and live with him, but it reached a point where I had already gotten my kids' passports ready to leave because the country he was, we don't need to get visas to go there. I just needed the passports, and he was to send us the tickets. So we waited for the tickets, and I had, at that time when we were waiting for the tickets, I disposed all my items, house items. I gave some out to children's homes. I gave just to people. And I packed my clothes waiting for the tickets, and they never came. So I was left with a suitcase of clothes and two babies.
Up
I
to
had
now,
a
still
son
waiting.
even before. No, I'm not waiting.
No, that's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. The fact that you know you have to pick up the pieces and move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Which most of the people don't, because then you don't know how to do it. You still are, bitter. You still hold grudges within. But look at her. She's doing good, and she's equally out here, advising people,
Yeah.
which is very important. Which then brings me to you. And when we're talking about what he has brought aboard in regards to this is happening in stages that we do not even expect. At that level where someone is still a toddler, upbringing factor is key. We've also seen one of the viewers dropping a text in regards to upbringing, and more so, of course, the church factor, the mosque, of course, Muslim factor of it, the religion factor of it, because then there are rules and guidelines within the good books. Do you suppose then we've overlooked them to a point whereby we're not bringing up our kids in the way that it should be, and even worse, when we get to that level of a family, as a wife, husband and wife, we do not submit, we do not provide, hence we end up, of course, losing a family that we would have made the best of.
Community starts at family level. That's where a nation starts. And when the family unit coughs, the word catches flu. Let me say this. Parents are not teaching the children how to live right. Most of them are absentee parents. Children are growing up on themselves. I mean, they're just, without being parented properly, proper parenting. That you grow a boy into a man, because in every boy there's a man. In every kid there's a king. You bring out the king in the kid. So you train this boy how to be a man, a real man, not just a male, to be a real responsible male. Because in a family setting, a man is a cultivator. You cultivate what you want in the woman you have. You take your responsibility seriously. God does not give you a finished product. She brings you the wife as a raw material. She brings Angela as she is. So it is your duty to make sure you cultivate what you want to see. You want her to look nice, take her to a boutique. You want her to look nice, take her to a nice salon. I mean, provide. Produce that you want. Provide all the ingredients for the meal you want to experience.
Let's be a little bit honest, yeah? And ask ourselves this. For a moment, did we, I don't want to fault God, neither do I want to fault the good books, but sometimes the society, paints a different picture of what we'd expect of a man who's out there providing, because some of them are willing to provide, but then there's not that space, like tough times ahead. So did we overlook that at some point in time, so that we all assume that, yes, the man is capable of doing this? And before you react to that, let's listen into what Onesimus has to say. Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you, Onesimus, for calling. Let's listen into what you have to say.
I'd like to say this. Hello?
Yes, Onesimus, I can hear you.
Now,
Yeah.
the big problem of nowadays marriages.
Kindly reduce the volume of your TV so we are able to hear you well.
Okay,
Yes.
I've gone a bit. So, this is my opinion now.
Right.
The big problem we have within nowadays marriages.
Yeah.
One thing, our mothers, let's say our parents, they have failed their responsibility of how they have failed their responsibility to teach their children
Right.
how to live right, according to how that our brother said there. These things, these issues, the former days, we never had them. but because of many children, they don't know how to live while they enter in the marriage.
Yeah.
Utapata msichana hata hajui ni nini ataoleka akafanye, hajui mwanamume atatritiwa aje, mwanaume akikosewa ni nini ya kufanya.
Right.
So shida ile nyingine ni wachungaji wanafaa kuangalia msichana kama ameokoka na amepatana na kijana huko, wamepatana waoane. Kabla mchungaji afungishe hii ndoa, anafaa kuchunguza kama huyo ameokoka.
Right.
Sababu mtu ameokoka na amezoea kunyenyekea na mwingine hajaokoka. Sasa hao watu wakiingia kwa ndoa wataenda kusumbuana. So ningeomba kama itawezekana, wazazi wa mama waregeshe ule mtindo wa kwanza wa zamani. Kulikuwa na njikoni na kulikuwa na kikao cha wazee. Vile vijana walikuwa wanaelezewa vile watakaa na wake zao wakioa. Wasichana vile wataenda kukaa na waume zao wakiolewa. Mwanaume ni kama Mungu, mwanaume hupenda kusikizwa. Na wanawake wengi siku hizi hawataki kuwasikiliza wanaume. Sana kijana akisoma, akipata kazi nzuri, akiwa na pesa kuliko mume wake, hawataki kusikilizana. So ni kwamba kila mtu afundishe msichana kabla msichana aoleke, akifikia kiwango cha kuitwa mbindi.
Right.
Amuelezee, amwambie, mbindi yangu, sasa umefikia kiwango cha kuwa na kwako. Wanaume upenda hivi, wanaume hawapendi hivi. Mwanaume upenda usikilizwa, mwanaume ni kichwa, mwanaume ni kama Mungu. Mambo kama hayo, na hakika katika ndoa zetu haya mambo yote yataisha. Na zaidi ya yote, mimi ningeomba tuelewe ya kwamba sisi wote tu watoto wa baba mmoja aliye mbinguni.
Yeah.
Na katika kila kitendo unatenda mume wako, Mungu atakupatia ujira wake. Kuna thawabu ya kila jambo tunafanya.
All right. Asante sana kwa hayo maoni ambayo ni ya kufaa. You know, sometimes they hit so hard, especially to me who's a woman listening to that, you know, it hits me so hard, but then it's the reality of the matter. 0791478990 is the number to call. #NewDayKE, SMS short code 4090. We'd love to hear what you have to say on the discussion that is ongoing, all heated up, but equally we are seeking solutions. Then before I come to you, let's first of all listen in and just wind up on that factor of the fact of whether indeed we have forgotten the good old, you know, ways that we were supposed to go by, and most importantly, did the good old ways also overlook what would have been in future in regards to the society that we have today? That a man would want to provide, but in real sense, times are tough and they're not able to, and then the woman would look down upon them, thinking that now this man is not providing. So,
let's go back to the ancient ways. Let us go back to what. To the ideal man.
right.
For example, a man is supposed to provide, but times have changed. If you're not able to provide, then you need to come together and talk to your wife. If she's the one working, if she's earning more than you are, then she's in a better position to do more.
Right.
Then talk. The woman's money is your money. The man's money is your money.
Correction. Correct that one. Can you correct that statement? Can you just correct that statement?
They say
yours is our money. Mine is my money.
Linda.
Okay, all right.
Linda, they say a woman's money is our money. The man's money is for everybody.
Yes.
You see? But now here is a case whereby the man does not have enough. What do? I don't know what this. I had people say. There's 2,000. It is some quote I saw somewhere. 2,000 in the house. The man has that money. Then the woman has 20,000. And there is only 2,000 in the house. Now, how do you calculate?
Indeed, there is only 2,000.
I mean, how do you calculate? Because these days you have to sit and agree.
Yeah.
I have seen wonderful women who don't have working men, who can even work and bring the money to the table, kneeling down and say, you know, honey, we have the money. It is here. And then it is not that the man wants the money. He just wants to be shown the respect. Oh, the money is here. Okay. What do we do with this?
All right.
Yeah, it's budgeted for. Okay. And unachukua, let's just take this. Unachukua tu 100. You see that? So it is about agreeing. Nowhere in life do we need people to agree more than in marriage. We need people agreeing. You agree. Maybe I'm not employed, she's employed. We agree. You take care of some aspects of our lives. Yeah?
Right.
And not forever.
Okay.
This is not an excuse for men not to work.
Not to
men,
work.
Men, you are supposed to work. Men. Actually, a woman is supposed to find you working.
Right.
She's supposed to come and help with what you are doing. And in an ideal setting, a woman should not be working. The man should be providing. Yeah.
And truth to it is that sometimes we really do not want you to work and bring the money, but we want to see the effort. You know, we want to see the willingness. We want to see whether indeed you're willing. You know, sometimes you can be willing, you step out, but there's literally nothing at the end of the day. If you come back home and tell me, you know what, baby, I went to this point and this point, I did not get anything, I will appreciate. I will say, it's okay, well, it did not happen today. It will happen then. I'm sorry, I have to take a breather. But I'll come after the break right to you on the psychological, you know, torture and, of course, the differences and imbalance that comes along with this and how best we can get to balance them. Whether we should seek counseling or, you know, assume that counseling is expensive and choose to deal with this with our friends, with our family members, or, you know, in our very own capacity after this break. Well, lots of feedback coming in, and we're grateful for that. Some of them asking questions, because then at the end of the day, we have to get a solution out of this place, and not necessarily a solution that is going to be, of course, implemented almost immediately, but, you know, some of the things that we're supposed to do moving forward to reduce these cases that we witnessed today. So remember, the discussion is all about family, you know, the trails of course, love and murder within relationships is what we're discussing, and not just about marriages, but also at all the levels of a relationship. At that time where your boyfriend and girlfriend, your fiancé, I mean, like you're courting each other, whatever capacity or whatever stage of love that you're in is crucial. And I think we need to look into this, because, I mean, the very same issues that we face at the level of marriage are the very same issues that we sometimes face at that level whereby we're just, you know, dating. And of course, if we not address some of these issues, we're not able to, you know, solve the problems that arise in tandem with them. So coming to you, Dan, I'm sorry you've been silent for a while now, but then again, the factor of psychological torture that comes along with these experiences, I think, is one thing that we need to discuss. And before it even gets to a point whereby one has gone through an experience, you know, sometimes it hurts us equally when we see, you know, a friend, when we see a sister, a loved one going through such a tough time. So then there's always that advice that it's important you go for counseling even before we get into marriage. It's important that you seek advice even before you march into marriage. But sometimes you get so much advice that it gets you a little bit confused. So when we're looking at the psychological, you know, well-being of an individual who's in marriage, probably prior and when they get into marriage, and even after going through a tough situation in marriage, I mean, how do we get to balance this so that moving forward, we're able to be at par?
I think the only way to handle issues in the psychological matters is through counseling. It's not by listening to friends' advice, because those people will misadvise you.
Yeah.
You need to go to a professional person who has the knowledge, who can take you through.
Right.
Yes, and then before, we have someone who had asked a question, the first caller, about we are having our young children committing suicide. What is the problem? It's because, you know, our parents now are fighting the issue of violence. It affects the children most, because we are fighting in front of our children. Parents, they see their parents crying after maybe they are beaten by their loved ones. So it affects them a lot. So they have the accumulated stress. They are battling depression. So that's why you will see a young kid committing suicide, because they can't handle, you know, the damage you are causing to your kids by fighting in front of them, by the violence. It affects them a lot. So they don't have where they can relieve the stress. That's why they only think of committing suicide. Yes, so, and above all, we need to embrace counseling, because even in a family setup, we need to go for family therapy, whereby, you know, we have issues, and sometimes we don't even understand we have issues. We don't know that we have issues. that we need to address. Some of these issues we'll only realize when we go for counseling.
Right.
Because a counselor, being a professional, he or she will dig deeper into some of the experiences we are going through, and then he will help us to understand and come up with a solution to our issues.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting, and that is very good. I agree that there are numerous times when you're going through something and you have no idea that you're going through it. I mean, there are times you've been told, by the way, there's something that is altering your performance at work. And at that point, you're thinking you're in the best of shape, not knowing that you're going through something that is traumatic, that needs to be addressed. And most of the times, we do not want to invest in counseling because we think, okay, that's an issue. I can always get counseling from my mom. Why should I pay for it and all that? So moving forward with these particular cases, because they're numerous in the country, even as we address how we can stop them, how we can alter them, how we can avoid them, we equally need to talk to the people who've gone through them. Then there's that need of us talking about reconciliation. There's that need of us talking of forgiveness. There's that need of us seeking justice, in a way that is good. And sometimes justice can really take long for it, when we have to go the court way and everything. So as a life coach, how do you get these people through a session of reconciliation, these people through a session of forgiveness? Because when we're talking about forgiveness and reconciliation, remember, we're also considering the other people who surround us that are of value. Sometimes it might not have gone to the level of marriage, but you probably had introduced this lady to your close cycle, to your family members and all that. So then you need this reconciliation. And equally, you consider the factor that there are kids involved. If you are to co-parent, then there has to be some level of peace and tranquility that exists between you.
Yes, I think it's very important for us to embrace forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't just begin with the other person.
Right.
It also begins with yourself. What did you have to do with the breakup or the fights? How did you changia? Ulichangia aje?
Right.
How did you contribute to this violence? Even if it's very minute, even if it's very small. And it could even be by tolerating. By being there too much. You were slapped once and your children have seen that, and you know that thing will even traumatize your children to the extent of believing that if it's a girl, they will know that it is okay to be slapped because mom used to be slapped. If it is a boy, they'll know that it is okay for me to slap a woman because my dad used to do that and he got away with it. So they will grow with what they have seen. And we are all a sum total of what has been put in us when we are growing up and what we have even put in ourselves when we are all already grown. And many times the things we pick when we are very young are the things that we grow up with. So now having a partner who is violent, who has even maybe messed your life and affected your life in a way, you should also forgive them because you don't know how they grew up.
Yeah.
Like for my case, my ex used to tell me that when we were living together, that his father used to be violent to the mother, and he had so many women. He even left them when they were young and went to marry other women. So he has like 3 other wives. So, and later on now when they are grown up is when he's coming back. The same thing that the father did is the same thing that this man was doing to me. And I even came to realize that much later that he was married back in his country.
Oops.
So I was actually like a second wife. So you see now the things that we put in ourselves, the things that we are avoiding to tell our children, and they are getting things out there, are the same things that they are going to grow up with. And mtoto mleavyo ndivyo akuavyo. We keep on blaming the current generation. What are we doing as parents to make sure that this generation is not going to turn out to be messed up like probably like we are? So we can forgive, but there has to be also some empathy by putting yourself into that person's shoes and saying that, yes, they did this to me. But if it were me brought up in that situation, how would I have turned out? And then you also correct yourself to make sure that you don't do the same things. You don't neglect your part as a parent and also maybe as a part of the society. You can help someone out there by giving a word, or even another child you see they're messing out.
Right, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Dan,
Yes.
struggling with resentment, struggling with so much hate and so much, questions as to why that had to happen. You equally have some level of understanding that, well, she probably did this because of the kind of course, this situation that played out that suddenly changed or altered her life in a way. Because then again, the love of a mother to a kid is one thing that you cannot wish away, is not one thing that you cannot overlook, and you probably think that that triggered that. And sometimes psychologists also will tell you, when you lose a kid, sometimes if you want to get that off your mind pretty fast, get another kid as quick as possible. I think I've seen people going through sessions and they're normally told that, and now here you are, you're telling this to your husband, he probably says no to it. I mean, you are bound to react in a different way. Even as you seek justice in court, are you also trying to find ways where you can come to peace with her and in your heart? Because then they say that hate is too much a burden to carry or to bear.
For me, what I did is that I forgive.
Right.
I struggled a lot trying to think how I'll revenge, and then I found that it was affecting me more than her, because maybe where she wasn't aware that I'm planning a revenge or what. So for her, her life was just normal. But for me, trying to think of revenge, it was even affecting me more. And then, you know, I was still in the healing process. So it was difficult for me even for the wounds to get healed.
Right.
So when I made a decision just to forgive, that's the time I got peace. And then the healing started.
Right.
Because forgiveness is key, because it helps you to heal from inside. And then you find yourself, you are so stable.
Right.
Yes. So even for other people, you need to forgive and let it go. You need to understand yourself. Self-awareness is key. Then you know your weaknesses, your strengths, your limitations, and work towards improving your weaknesses.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And lastly, Johnston, as we talk of reconciliation and forgiveness briefly, most importantly, what is this one advice that you'd give out to the society in regards to these crimes of passion? You know, even sometimes you're told, okay, well, don't tell them. I mean, God hates divorce. I mean, what, you should not do it. But when it gets out of hand, what do you do? So moving forward, speaking to the people who've not gone through this yet, how do they get to save themselves from such?
People do not need to earn forgiveness. People do not deserve forgiveness. Just forgive them.
Yeah.
There is no condition attached to forgiveness. Forgive those who have hurt you. Forgive those who have frustrated you. Forgive them and let go. The forgiver is the wise one. The forgiver is the stronger one.
Right.
When you let go, you come out the winner. Those to avoid situations of murder, violence in the family. The moment you feel you want to do something bad, the moment you have negative energy, just know that the devil is using you. You have become the devil's tool. Refuse to be used by the devil. Divert that energy to something positive. And don't hurt the one you love. If you see things are not working completely, you have given your best and things are not working at all, there are other options. But killing is not one of them. Don't kill people.
Yeah.
Go and do farming with that energy.
Wow.
But for whatever reason, no murder, don't kill.
Or don't even hurt them.
Don't even hurt them.
Don't hit
Hurt
them.
nobody, frustrate nobody, hurt nobody, please. If they have to go, let them go. And just love them. If they go still, love them.
There's always that power within a person to control themselves, however much we
You
say.
can control
Yeah,
yourself,
you can
yes.
always, I mean, if you seek for this deep down, you can be able to control yourself, and you would not be able to do that one thing that you'd regret for the rest of life. Because
Someone
then
was
it doesn't
slapped.
go easy.
They took a knife. They stabbed the other partner.
Okay.
And now it's a series of issues.
I know. It's never easy for you, on the other hand, in as much as you think that, well, you're revenging, you dishing out your rage on this particular person. Thank you so much, Angela Katua, transformational coach. Thank you so much, Daniel Matakaya, founder Dan Shieshe Foundation, and lastly, Johnston Chumwa, who's a life coach. Of course, we've read a couple of his books, and we are thankful for that because then they are insightful, or they are great enough for people to go through them and, of course, learn the lessons, key lessons of life. We're not going just yet. We need to get some bit of music. I don't know whether you people are willing to dance, but if you're not willing all the same, I'll enjoy the music with the DJ, even as we get to hear his last sentiments. Axanik, as you give us music, allow me to cross over to your side. Unafikiria nini as we get to wind up on this particular topic, moving forward?
Yeah, it's quite a tricky topic because at times you don't even choose who to love. You just find yourself
in love.
In love, yeah.
Many a times, by
Many
the
a
way.
times, yeah.
True.
You find yourself
Unlike
in
those
love.
days when you were given by your mothers and fathers, you know, you're told this is the person you're going to love.
Yeah, sure. So what I would ask, it's probably just to be patient with our partners. Yeah, that would be most important, and forgiveness. Yeah.